Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're taking a really close look at what I like to call the PDF illusion, citing digital sources correctly. Listen, if you've ever stared blankly at a downloaded document on your screen, completely paralyzed by how on earth you're supposed to reference it in your bibliography, you are in exactly the right place. Because by the end of our time together today, you are going to have a foolproof, structured approach to referencing these things perfectly every single time.
So first off, are you actually citing your sources wrong? Think about it. Have you ever found yourself desperately trying to format a citation only to end up just pasting in a file name something completely ridiculous like document_final_v3_use_this1.pdf? Look, we have all been there, right? You download a file, it just kind of sits there on your desktop, and you look at that file name and just hope for the best. But here's the thing. Doing that fundamentally misunderstands what you're actually looking at. And that leads to inaccurate citations, lost references, and frankly, a whole lot of unnecessary stress when your deadline is looming. So, the crucial point is redefining what we are actually dealing with here. A PDF is simply a file format. It is not a source type. It is merely a digital wrapper. I really want you to lock that concept right into your mind. It's a digital wrapper. Saying that you're citing a PDF is basically like saying you're citing a piece of paper or citing a computer screen. The format itself tells us absolutely zero about the actual intellectual content of the work. The PDF is literally just the delivery mechanism. It's just the container holding the information you actually want to reference.
Which brings us to Section 1, Unboxing the Digital File. What's actually inside?
Okay, I want you to start treating every single PDF you download exactly like a plain, brown cardboard shipping box that just arrived on your front porch. You don't read the cardboard box, right? You open it up to get to the valuable stuff that was shipped inside. So, when we conceptually rip the tape off and open that digital box, what might we actually find? Well, the possibilities are huge. Hidden inside that digital wrapper, you might uncover a comprehensive corporate report, a peer-reviewed journal article, maybe a single scanned book chapter, a massive university thesis, a highly specific conference paper, an official government publication, or honestly, a whole bunch of other distinct works. Each and every one of these is its own specific source type, which means it requires its own specific Harvard template for citation. If you treat them all just as a PDF, you completely strip away all that vital context. You absolutely have to identify that underlying source type first.
Moving right along to Section 2, Hunting for the Truth, Finding the Right Metadata.
All right, now that we've conceptually unboxed our file, we kind of have to put on our detective hats to find the correct data, the metadata. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact mindset shift you need to make. The completely wrong way is using the file name as the document title. I know it's incredibly tempting because it's just sitting right there at the top of your screen, but guys, the file name is just a meaningless label some random person scribbled on the outside of the shipping box. The right way? That requires you to physically scroll down, look deep inside the document itself, and track down the proper title page, because that is where the truth actually lives.
Let's see how this builds a complete map for our little detective mission. To satisfy those strict Harvard citation requirements, we generally need the author, the date, the edition, the publisher, maybe a report number if that applies, and the DOI. That's the Digital Object Identifier. Now, look at this table. Notice a theme? Where do we find every single piece of this required information? Inside the document. Not in your file properties, not sitting in your messy downloads folder, and definitely not up in the URL bar. You have to open the wrapper, look at the source itself, and dig inside the document to hit every single one of these targets.
Now, while we're on the subject of where things live, let's clear up a massive point of confusion regarding URLs. Just because you happen to be looking at a digital file does not automatically mean you need to paste some massive, clunky, 4-line web address into your pristine bibliography. You should include the PDF URL only when two very specific conditions are met. First, the source actually has to be accessed online, and second, the selected citation style you are using has to strictly require it. Please, don't just throw a giant URL in there by default simply because you're reading text on a glowing screen. Always follow the specific rules of your citation style.
Okay, let's head into Section 3, Building the Perfect Citation, Using the Right Tools.
So we've gathered all our raw materials, and now what's really interesting about this slide is that we have the exact right solution for compiling all that data we just hunted down. What you're seeing here is the Harvard Reference Generator, which you can find over at harvardreferencegenerator.co.uk. This is an amazingly precise tool designed specifically to generate the exact correct reference for you, which basically takes all the pain and guesswork out of formatting. But remember what we've been talking about today. A tool is literally only as good as the information you feed into it.
You can't just toss a digital wrapper at it and expect it to magically spit out a perfect result.
So here is exactly how to use this tool to guarantee absolute success every single time. Step 1, and honestly, this is the absolute most critical part of this entire explainer, you have to choose the real source type. When you open up that generator, you must resist the urge to just automatically select PDF from the drop-down menu. Remember the cardboard box? You have to tell the generator what the document actually is. Is it the report, the thesis, the journal article? Do that first. Once you've selected the true format, step 2 is simply entering that underlying information. You know, the author, the date, and the publisher we just found hiding inside the document. Finally, step 3, you just clip to generate the correct reference. By strictly following these steps, the generator will perfectly format your citation based on the actual, real-life source, not just the digital container it came in.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to really cement this in. The very next time you download a PDF, what will you actually be reading? I really hope your immediate answer is that you won't be reading a PDF at all. You'll be reading a compelling book chapter or an essential government publication or a groundbreaking conference paper that just so happens to have been delivered to you in a digital wrapper. If you can make that fundamental mental shift, if you can always look right past the container and hunt for the true source inside, I promise you, you will never, ever struggle with citing these files again. Thank you so much for joining me today to break the PDF illusion. Happy citing!